Hi guys, Kristen again. I hope you're all doing okay. In my last video I talked about some things that I did to recover from anxiety and depression, and I just want to make another one to talk about some more things, a little bit more specific that I did. So the first thing I want to talk about is setting goals for yourself. So if you're in a deep depression right now, you obviously know that doing small things such as getting out of bed, eating, all those things that are pretty easy to do become very hard. I know how hard it is to set goals for yourself when you're in this state, but I would highly recommend it. So just really small things, for example, getting out of bed. Okay, so if that's really hard for you right now, you could put that on your list. The idea is to be really kind to yourself. So something that you would usually do that you would think, oh, I should be able to do this, you can't because of the illness. So it's really important to just set really, really tiny goals for yourself. Even something, I'm going to eat something nutritious today. Really, really small goals. And then praise yourself when you do these things, and that will lift your self-esteem. So even if you think everything is impossible right now, just set yourself a daily goal to do that's very, very achievable. Something like getting out of bed. Or if you're not quite in that state where you're actually still functioning, just something that you would like to be able to do that you can't do anymore. And just push yourself that little bit. And in my other videos I talked about support. This is where you need somebody to help you through this as well, because you're likely to not follow through with these goals when you're in this state. So it's really good to have somebody there to pull you up on that. Okay, so I'd highly recommend that you read Healing from Depression by Douglas Bloch, which I read. And he talks about setting goals in different areas of your life. So the self-care would be, you know, taking care of your health and all those things. And then spirituality and prayer, that's another category, something you can do for that. Something else you can do for, you know, all these different categories. And I would put one in each category that I would do every day. And when you do this and be really kind to yourself and do little things every day, you just feel better about yourself. And again, I just want to keep reinforcing really, really small steps, like a baby step. Something else I learned when reading The Happiness Trap by Russ was, I would highly recommend that book as well. I've left a link in the description, was feeling what you're feeling to its full extent without fighting it. Now, I don't think this works for everybody in every situation, but I would recommend it if you're having obsessive thoughts or something that you can't quite let go of. So what I did was I would sit in my room and I would just feel what I was feeling to its full extent, as scary as it was. So it's almost sending yourself into a panic or feeling that depression to its full extent. And again, let me just reinforce that depending on what you're going through, this may not be a great technique, because the idea is not to freak you out and to get you in an uncontrollable state where you can't cope. It's just, there's something about not fighting what you're going through that really desensitizes yourself from that really intense feeling. So let me just say again, if I was to feel what I was feeling and think what I was thinking, and then really, really wish it would go away and really wish it would stop, there's an element of that is fighting that and can make it worse. So if you're feeling some really horrible feeling that you don't want to feel, sometimes what can be helpful is you go in a quiet place and you just feel it really, really intensely, and you say, okay, these obsessive thoughts, come, I'm going to obsess about you for half an hour. Just feel it really, really, really strong. And it can be scary, but by telling yourself that you're allowing that to be, you do get desensitized from it, or you can. So that's just something that helped me when I told myself I'm going to obsess about this horrible thing for, you know, an hour, half an hour. It's like, oh, you're giving me that space that you're letting me be there now, so I don't really want to be there anymore. The next thing I want to talk about is positive affirmations. Now, I don't know how I feel about these at the moment. I was doing a lot of positive affirmations before I got sick. I was listening to Louise Hay audio and reading some of her stuff, and I think she's absolutely wonderful. But I think there's more to them that we know about, and I'm not sure whether they always work or they work in if you're in a particular headspace, and if you're not in that headspace, sometimes they can actually do more harm. I don't know that, I can't prove that, but I feel like if you say something that isn't true and you start to feel worse about it because it's not true, then it's doing the opposite effect of what you want. But I did do some, when I wasn't well, I would write out what I wanted, and even though it wasn't in the now, and visualize it being in the now. So I would say that positive affirmations can be quite helpful in this situation. More so saying when you're in a really, really terrible state. I found by saying everything passes, this will pass, that really helped. Now that's not a positive affirmation, but it's something to repeat, because that's true. When you're in a horrible state, sometimes just knowing that it's going to pass really helps. So yeah, just reminding yourself that everything passes, and this time in your life will also pass too. As uncomfortable, horrible, depressing as it is, it will pass, because everything has to change. Also, this sort of goes hand in hand with the goal thing. Try your best to push yourself to do something really small every day. Now, I talked about this, but I want to just reinforce. When you're in a deep depression and you feel like you can't do the things you used to do, by doing those things, it actually tricks your brain to believe that you can do them again. So it's really important to keep doing those things that you used to do, even though they don't bring you any joy anymore. Now, when I heard this, I thought, well, that's so hard though, because I'll do them when I feel better, but it actually works the other way around. So you can't wait until you feel better to do those things. You have to do them even though they may feel crap to do them right now. And the people who would tell me that, I would think, well, you haven't been there though, you don't know what this is like. Like, I can't do those things, they don't bring me any joy anymore. Some of my favorite things to do obviously was to play music. I'm a musician. Spend time with animals, spend time with friends, be a social butterfly. That's usually me. But I didn't want to do any of those things. And they not only don't give you any joy, they actually make you feel worse, because you feel like you've lost that part of you. So if you're going through that, I know exactly what that's like. But pushing yourself to do, like for example, getting on my piano, just play a few notes, just to trick my brain to think, okay, you still have the passion for music there. So whatever you're interested in, if you have lost interest in everything that you used to love, doing those things, but really, really small, taking a tiny step towards them, tricks your brain to think that, okay, it's still there. And it is still there. You've got this cloud over it, and it will lift. So I would highly recommend getting out of bed and pushing yourself to do those tiny, tiny little things as much as you can. And be kind to yourself. If you can't do it one day, try again the next day. You're not a failure. At the start of my depression, I was struggling to get a good sleep routine, but as I got better, that did get better. I was actually sleeping too much. Some people are up all night and they just can't sleep. So all those other things I talked about, the medication, the therapy and everything in the other video, these should help this situation. It's very important to get a good night's sleep, obviously. I would recommend doing whatever you need to do to get at least 8 hours. I slept too much, but when you're going through depression, that's very common that you sleep a lot. So be kind to yourself, that's the key. Sleep if you need to sleep, because especially if you're anxious, if you're going through anxiety, it is so exhausting. So you need to sleep. If people around you are wondering why you're sleeping so much, just explain it to them. They don't get it. You need to sleep. So sleep as much as you want, but at the same time, try your best to get 8 hours at night and have a little nap in the day. Try not to oversleep, but at the start you may need to. And the things I talked about in the other video about medication, therapists and all that, that should help your sleep as well. This is another obvious one, drinking a lot of water. I am always thirsty, so I drink a lot of water. If you're not drinking lots of water, just push yourself to have 8 glasses a day. And just the last thing I want to talk about is if you're having trouble eating due to high levels of anxiety or depression, which I did as well, and I couldn't eat for a while. So I would recommend to drink as much as you can. So get yourself some vitamins, and there are also some, like, they look like Barocca. You put it into water and it's got B vitamins in it. If you go to the supermarket, you can see some things you can put in water that have vitamins in it. Alternatively, some like up and goes, like milk or protein drinks. I don't drink cow milk, so at the time I just had some chocolate soy milk because that sort of tasted nice and just something to keep me going. So I would highly recommend having fluids if you can't eat. So yeah, they're just some more things that really help me get through my anxiety and depression. If you're watching this, I hope that you have the faith and you believe that whatever you're going through is temporary and you will get through this. If you want to get through this and you seek help, you will. I invite you to leave me a comment or email me on this email address, and I'll answer any questions or talk about anything that you'd like to talk about. Until next time.